Bibbity bobbity boop. Bibbity bobbity boop. Alakazoola, bitstapoola, bibbity bobbity boop. Bibbity 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 bobbity boop. Bosh bad, Bosh bad, Bosh bad, Bosh bad, Bosh mad, Bosh mad, Bosh mad, Bosh bad, Bosh mad, Bosh bad, Bosh mad, Bosh bad, Bosh mad, Bosh bad, Bosh mad. I love, like, whenever I do disagree with Vosh, people act confused. Like, that's the play. I say something that, is a little anti-Vosh's rhetoric, and people go like, what do you even mean? It's like, okay. Didn't even really get into it. He just made a tweet about this chick that got fired from The Mandalorian for expressing conservative views or whatever the fuck, implying that conservative people shit all over their work floor and call people the N-word and then cry about it when they get fired, which is rhetoric that, the right uses against the left constantly in order to sow division amongst workers. Oh, leftists are just lazy, pothead, homestuck, never show up for work, always late, always hungover, always stoned on the job. He's doing the same shit. People are like, I don't even understand this tweet. What does this even mean? Even Vosh, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, that's the play. Making blanket statements about groups of people is always a good idea. Yeah, especially during a time when, like, we've needed class and worker solidarity more than ever in the history of the fucking planet. Yeah. Let's shit on the cons to own the cons. People are like, what do you even mean? I don't even understand your point. It's like, this is the people who disagree with, because that's what happened when he was shitting all over Bernie or Busters, and I shit back at him. Like, this was months ago on Twitter. He was made a bunch of shitty tweets about Bernie or Busters, and I told him, like, he was being shitty. And there was like this, I don't even know why you have a problem. It's like, this is the play, huh? Throw out hot takes and then act confused when somebody has a fucking take to match. Whatever. See, there's this crazy thing I've got in my head. I happen to think that class solidarity and worker solidarity is the most important thing that a leftist can be fostering right now. This crazy idea in my head. I've got this crazy idea in my head that the two-party system was set up to drive a wedge between people, so that in the background, the political class could continue to forward the interests of capital, while in the foreground, left and right fought each other constantly and made sniping little comments at each other constantly when they occupy exactly the same economic space. They have nothing but shit in common when it comes to not being paid enough, not having job security, not having health care. But all this political shit is just a big old nice wedge we put in between those people. I'm open to a fucking discussion with the guy, but I'm not going to be the one that sets it up. He can set it up with me. He's got my fucking DMs and shit. He can come and shoot me one of those and tell me he wants me on a show. Otherwise, I give a fuck. I don't think dude wants to talk to me. Which... How's my mental health, Paul? Better now that your dumbass is banned. She's worth $8 million. How is she working class? She isn't some innocuous conservative. She's a QAnoner. I'm not talking about her. You see what I mean? I'm talking about the tweet that Vosh made in reply to what happened to her that doesn't mention her, that talks about conservative people shitting on the floor of their workplace and calling everybody the N-word. And then whining that they got banned because they're conservative or got fired because they're conservative. That type of rhetoric does not foster the dissolution of that wedge that we're talking about between left and right. Workers who occupy the same class. That type of rhetoric was not directly related or meant to be only directly related to this conservative chick's situation. He made a nice broad statement. Why do I get fired? Shits on work floor for my conservative views. Calls coworker the N-word. She didn't do any of those things. So who was he talking about? Conservative workers. People in the fucking working class or the lower class that happen to be conservative. How is this hard for people to understand? Shits on the work floor? That bitch doesn't even have a work floor. He's making points about conservative workers. Duh, I don't get this tweet, Bozico. I don't even understand the criticism. Really? That's where we're at now? She's not accused of calling a coworker an N-word or shitting on the Mandalorian set or any of the things that he put in there. He pointed that shit at conservatives. Working conservatives. Blue-collar, lower-middle-class conservatives. The workers that we need to convince to unionize in order to take back a smidgen of power in this fucking country. What are you even talking about? And then his little fucking side-shaved, ponytailed army shows up. Oh, yeah, I don't understand the neighbor. Really? I don't get that neighbor. I gotta hold your fucking hand through it? Fucking ridiculous. Yeah, drive further wedges between working people to own the cons. Oh, that's the hypocrisy of this. Sorry about the snot, by the way. You guys just have to deal with that. That's the hypocrisy of this. The hypocrisy of this is that if this was a leftist who made some super far left thing like dissolve the fucking government or, fucking replace the democratic shit, the democratic fucking political structure we have with a people's workers movement or some shit, and they'd gotten let go for a show, he'd be all about standing up for that. It's just hypocrisy. Somebody lost their job because of some shit they said. And because they happen to be a conservative, yay! And other conservatives ought to be fired for what they say too. Yay! You've literally done what he did, Paul, all the time. Nice example. I'm going to give you, let's see, I'm going to give you 300 seconds to come up with an example. And if the next thing out of your mouth isn't an example, you're banned. I don't take vague criticisms here. You want to criticize me? Be specific. 300 seconds to figure it out. Go ahead and type it into the chat and wait for your ban to run out. And when you come back, I want you to go ahead and hit send for me, okay? Or get ready to get fucking banned. It's a false equivalence claiming you're like a Holocaust victim because you're conservative. Political views are not the same as being born into a particular region or ethnicity. Right. Leftists do the same thing. That was kind of another part of the point of the tweet, is that there are leftists out there that go like, oh man, I'm fired just because I'm an anarchist. That's no need for me to go after leftist or rightist working people. Yeah, I never said that the actress's remarks weren't stupid. I just don't think that stupid remarks in your private life should get you fired from your work. And I certainly don't think that a conservative actress getting fired is a good time to fucking start ripping on conservative workers, saying they shit on the floor and call people the N-word at work. I don't understand. What is this take, Paul? I don't even get it. Really? Oh, that's absolutely the case. That's absolutely the case. My critique doesn't fit his narrative, so, monkey scratch head. What the fuck you talk about? Really? So you can sit and have a fucking 16-hour conversation with Destiny about political dialectics, but you don't understand class solidarity? I really gotta fucking spell that one out for you? Cowardice. Bosch would rather have division than unified class solidarity because that's his shtick. He's a sophist, of course. And I'm not. So I find myself at odds with him sometimes. Unfortunately, people aren't willing to have class solidarity by and large. Well, the workplace is where that's bred. We're not going to get class solidarity by talking about it. The workplace is where that happens. It's almost magic. You get people in the workplace and you give them collective bargaining power over their workplace. And watch all those class differences and all those racial divides disappear. And what replaces it? Solidarity, worker solidarity. Brothers and sisters standing together at the union meeting, bargaining for their own rights. It melts away on the line. Do you think anybody's going like, get out of here, N-word, when they're walking the line with one? You understand what I'm talking about here? I'm talking about something other than the division that we've been fed by the political class. I'm talking about coming together for the most important reason we possibly could. And the place that that's born is in the workplace, in the factories, in the fucking stores. It's not born on the internet. And it's certainly not born on the internet shitting on one whole group of people and then scratching your head and pretending you didn't. Have I clarified things yet? I don't think everyone's life here is necessarily better because of me, but I appreciate your kind words, shitty economist. Well, you're always angry with stuff. I wonder what you'd be like if you had no weed. I'd probably still ban you. At my mom's union meeting, we always have infiltrators that left the union act like spies. It's funny. That's part of the corporate fucking playbook of union busting, is infiltration. Of course, part of the union playbook is infiltration as well. So, one of my closest friends at work is a Trump-thumping conservative, but she's so fucking nice to me. Her politics don't stop us from working well together to stop her from working with me. It's shocking, isn't it? Thank you for the $4.99, G. Freeman. I knew the second you raised your passions to talk about this, the tone police would come out. They always do. Yeah, dude, we can't ban G-Time Johnny. He may not make a whole lot of sense, but we can't ban G-Time Johnny. G-Time Johnny is a very rare, legit nonsense poster. What, because I don't keep a journal of your exact quotes, I'm lying? You know damn well you have, Paul. Don't be disingenuous. Ban me, coward. There you go. You got it. You didn't use your 300 seconds very wisely. Pretty funny. We need the support of working class from left and right, but hey, let's just make hyperbolic, wide-sweeping comments about the right. That'll work. Yeah. And then retreat to the, I was just talking about this chick. Oh, so she shit on the floor and called somebody an N-word at work? Well, no. Well, who are you talking about when you said those things? Other conservative workers? Oh. Why do you think you did that? I don't understand. Companies can fire anyone at any time for any reason. Right now, conservative points of view are targeted, but it can be something completely different tomorrow. That's why solidarity is needed, yes. And it's not only conservative points of view that are targeted. It is radical political points of view of all stripes that are targeted. You might have a conservative boss that punch your ass because he goes online and sees you run an anarchist YouTube channel. Okay? So to act like it's only conservatives getting fucked at the workplace is just, once again, ignoring the need for fucking workplace solidarity in favor of this constant partisan back and forth rancor shit. Because that makes the bread, doesn't it? Hello, Pranab. Punch up, don't punch to the sides. If you're going to punch to the sides, make it something that impinges upon those people where they work. Like, take it to their workplace and punch from there with them. This is why identity politics doesn't work. We need everyone in the working class, and identity politics is just going to drive a wedge. No. Identity politics and workplace politics are utterly separate. You don't understand how a union functions. See, the union I grew up watching being run had liberals and conservatives in it, had non-participant political people in it, had gay people in it, had black people in it, had white people in it. All of these things that are divisions out there in the real world that tribalize people into different groups don't exist in the union space. Those were workers. Everybody had a vote. Everybody had their time up the podium to speak on a measure, speak on a fucking contract. You see what I mean? Those things melt in the workplace. Paul the Tanky. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
The Union Revolution.
Yeah. I'm a tanky. Get the fuck out of here.
All you're asking for is to go
Like
back to how it was. Like, you're not even doing something horribly progressive. You're saying, let's do unions again.
Yeah, I'm talking about something that we did at one time, and it took us from people who had our children working in factories for fucking 16 hours a day to people that had fucking paid vacation. And I'm a tanky. Get the fuck out of here, dude. If you're literally that type of person, your mind has been fucking poisoned by whoever you're listening to. And you need to go out and take a deep breath of some outside air. Tanky. It's fucking dolts, man. I'm a Teamsters member, and even the conservative guys realize how important the union is for their livelihood. Of course they do. The Teamsters are one of the last actually functioning unions that have enough power to actually do union business. By that I mean shut down part of the economy if they want to. So you can vouch for what I just said. That political and class and racial divisions disappear at the union hall and disappear on the line. Tanky. The fuck out of here with this shit. I love your general strike idea, but the logistics are a nightmare. Yes. Yes, they are. A general strike requires an overarching union that can mobilize millions of workers. We need about 50 to 60% of the American workforce to be unionized in order to pull off a general strike that actually matters. We need them all paying dues, and we need those dues going to strike pay and strike relief and strike travel. That's how you do it. That's the key to the locked door. Mass unionization across every type of work, an overarching bridge organization that takes the dues from that and shows up in solidarity with those people when they need it. At this point, it seems unlikely mass unionization would occur unless an extremely charismatic, credible, transcendent political leader rose to prominence or power. That's because you don't understand how unionization works. There's no political leader that's going to rise to prominence and power and push down unionization. That's against what political leaders want. So what you're talking about is the slow but sure unionization of places. Factory to factory, store to store. Having an overarching organization that pays infiltrators to go and work at these places and start organizing for the union. Continuing to do that, continuing to send these people all over the world to get jobs at these places. Not all over the world, I guess. Here in the United States, all over the United States, to get jobs at these places. Trained by the union to agitate for union. You pull those people that you use as infiltrators from the geographical area that you want them to infiltrate in. So they speak the lingo. So you don't have some blue-haired fucking Seattleite wandering into a factory down in South Carolina going, hey guys, we should start a union. It doesn't work that way. You get somebody that's from there. The union trains them. They go to the factory. They speak the local lingo. And if it doesn't work, you try again. Factory by factory, place by place. That's how unionization happens. Ground roots up. None of you sitting around praying and hoping and wishing that a political leader is going to come and lead you to the promised land is what led us to here. They don't care about us. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. Listen to Michael Jackson. He knew. That's incredibly brilliant. An outside paid force to infiltrate industries would circumvent the threat of firing. This is not a brilliant idea that I have come up with on my own. This is 100% old school union business. I'm just letting you know that these tactics were used by leftists in the past. I didn't come up with this. This is not some radical new idea that I've got. This happened here in America and needs to happen again. It's 100% codified union business. You can read books about this shit. The tactics are there. You get an organization that trains these local fucking people to infiltrate. They don't have to worry about their paycheck. Their paycheck goes directly back to the union. You're paying them. The union is paying them. Unionization is a historically proven means of effecting change, yes. It needs to start at every job, Phoebes. Service jobs, factory floor jobs, fucking Amazon fulfillment center jobs, grocery stores. All of it. All of it has to be happening simultaneously. Piecemeal doesn't work. That's how unions get busted. You don't come roaring out of the gate until you've got a significant chunk. Till the tide is moving your way. You don't push for unionization right away. You start agitating for it. That's the job of these people that I'm talking about, these infiltrators. This would take decades to rekindle, and every year automation advances, lessening worker leverage, which is why we got to start fucking now. All the other fucking ideas that I've heard pushed onto the table require decades. What, electoralism and incrementalism don't require decades to show fruit? We need to start now, while workers still have a little bit of leverage in this fucking country. Yes. I agree with you. The clock is ticking. Remember in my talk with Vosh, how I said I feel the clock a-ticking like this? I know a lot of people have this weird perception of the unions being tied to the mafia. That's not a weird perception. The unions, in large part, were tied to the mafia in several different ways. Any port in a storm. It's the FedEx dude. This is the first decent paying job I've had, but it needs a union. I think a lot of people want to strike, but are scared to lose their house. If you strike, you will lose your house. We need a way to help people hold the line. That's why we need a nationalized union movement. Because your people could walk the line and you'd get strike pay. And if scabs or the cops came to bust up your protest and let people into where the fucking trucks are stored, the next day there'd be 20,000 people standing out in front of your FedEx. And then there would be no trucks leaving or entering. How do we protect workers but be competitive globally? That's a question for a fucking economist to deal with. And quite frankly, is not the fucking job of the worker to fucking work out. The worker didn't have a say in designing the globalized economy that's dependent on cheap goods, so the worker doesn't have to come up with how the United States is going to have to deal with that. It's the worker's job to exert political pressure to make sure that the country that we live in takes care of our workers first. So if that means high tariffs on goods that are imported from other places, if that means giant fucking tax burdens on companies that export jobs overseas, then so fucking be it. We're not talking about just fucking changing your workplace and getting a little extra money. We're talking about changing the face of the economy with the power of labor and making it something that works for the people that make the shit. Absolutely, a labor movement should be internationalist. It's my opinion that a labor movement needs to be established here in the United States first so that it can radiate out internationally. I think if we spread it too thin and try and make it another one of these international workers of the world movements, it just fizzles. This needs to be focused on the very particular problems of America right now. We are lagging behind the first world in almost every workers' rights category. Vacation, hazard pay, time off, sick pay, parental leave, etc. We're lagging behind the entirety of the first world. We need that now here. And then, TBH, Paul, that tweet of yours made no sense. Go back and listen to the beginning of this, because you are yet another dummy that needs their hand held on this. So earlier in this stream, luckily for you, I explained to you the tweet in detail. I grab your little hand and I hold it and I walk you from one very obvious point to another. So you're lucky. Go ahead and hit the rewind. I have DVR turned on, so you can just rewind it. It's not your fault you just came in here. Well, rewind it, beef business. Rewind it and have your little hand held. And I explained the very easy to understand tweet. There you go. Nice hoodie, thanks. I don't even really blame this on the education system. This is just like slavish adherence to the ideas of another person. That's what's behind this shit. If you get yourself into the position that a person is right about everything, you're willing to just pretend you don't understand shit. Huh? Intellectual apathy. Paul, I don't know. There's nothing to really do about it, but the DFF fan base is really annoying to deal with now that they're all Vosh fans. They're not. I think you might be hanging around the DFF subreddit a little too much. There's a strong contingent of like Vosh nut washers in there that have his sack just like permanently. But the fan base overall, I don't even think gives a fuck about Vosh. You realize that like less than 6% of the people that watch our shit ever interact with it? I want you to take that number and think about it for a second. Okay? Less than 6% of the people that watch us ever leave a comment, like, or any other sign that they were there other than +1 to the view count. Are you starting to think it might be just a tiny little contingent of vocal internet Twitter liberals that like Vosh? Hmm. Hmm. Wee. Oh man, everything is blooming. Fuck my life. What could be done about workers who are anti-union? Exactly what I've just spent the last half hour, 45 minutes talking about. Said infiltration. Using the correct lingo, not using old union lingo, using local vernacular to explain to these people that they're being taken advantage of at the workplace, and to explain to them the value and power of unionization, and to start sowing that seed. You don't have to get everybody in the factory, just, a majority. Springtime is a good thing. I know. It's a very pretty time, but it's just an awful time for me. I am Mr. Allergic to everything. Captain Allergies. Here, I'm going to do this so you guys don't get a big old boogery fucking snot bubble again. That was pretty gross earlier. I'm looking out for you guys this time. I have year-round allergies. I'm allergic to everything. I had that test where they stick you in the back with like 100 different pins, and my back lit up like a fucking Christmas tree. I'm like allergic to dust, mold, like pollens of all different types, dander of all, human dander, pet dander, blah, 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 just everything. Everything that I'm around all day, I'm allergic to. And so that's year-round allergies. It's wonderful. I've never blown a boogie on anybody by accident, I don't think. It happens, you know. Dude, Marshall's song dropped. Marshall's song dropped. I want everybody over here to go right now. If you're watching this, go to Marshall Manson's channel. Marshall, post your channel in the chat. Go to Marshall Manson's channel, subscribe, and then watch his fucking music video, because who knows how long it'll be up. I want you guys to fucking do it now. If you're not going to do it now, like, save it. Save it, like, fucking get it. Put it on your list. There's the fucking link right there, Marshall. Spam it, Marshall. Spam it. You got spam abilities. Everybody over here, go over there, sub, watch this video, or put it in your fucking watch later folder at the very fucking least. Make sure you check it out. Leave a fucking like, leave a fucking comment. Help Marshall out. Marshall's been working for like fucking 2 years. He's got a contest going on. Go do it. Go, go, go. I'll stay here. I'll wait. Marshall is a creator that you guys should want to support. He's a talented guy. He does everything himself. He works his fucking ass off. And he's a huge friend of the show. A huge friend of the show. Has always been there for our creative endeavors whenever we've asked him to help us with something. Marshall's a fucking man. So go show him some love. 100%. What was the fake face made from? You need to ask Marshall. Put that in the fucking comments of his video. Did he do the DFF opening? He's done both of the official Deep Fat Fried songs. You guys remember the old song? Deep Fat Fried, dun 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 dun, dun Deep Fat Fried, dun 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 dun. It's his real face. And he did the new song. Deep Fat Fried. Yep, the official DFF bard indeed. One of the most talented dudes I know. Go show him the love that he deserves. Outside agitators aren't as effective as you think. That's not a real solution. Trust between workers sometimes takes years to build. Yes! Yes! So does incrementalism. So does electoralism. So let's put our fucking eggs in this basket and take years for workplace fucking solidarity to come together. Yes! Yes, 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 yes. Where does the money from this come from? Union dues. Or an angel investor. One of these fucking billionaires that's a leftist that wants to affect real change. We need money to start this. Just like we need money to affect the electoral system. We want to get a grassroots candidate in there. We're going to have to spend tons and tons of money to do that. 2 cycles in a row, the grassroots has done that for Bernie Sanders. And all of that money ended up going right to the DNC. Think about if we had that money to support the establishment of a fucking grassroots labor organization. It's starting to look like participation in electoralism, even monetarily, when it comes to supporting leftist candidates, only supports the fucking status quo. Oh! Chugga, 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 chugga. Why is it that police unions have remained so strong with strong public support, even as other unions for first responders have withered, nurses, firemen, etc.? You've got me. I mean, say what you want about police unions and police officers and whatnot. The concept of solidarity within their particular working bracket, very strong. So I would say they maintained solidarity. They also didn't go through the incessant union busting that a lot of, fucking textile unions and glass bottling unions and molder unions and woodworkers unions went through. They are the arm of the status quo, you see. Cops are the fist of the upper class. They're the most powerful, but I love saying this to people because a lot of people don't know this. The single most powerful official in the United States is your average everyday beat cop. They are the only official that can legally reach into their fucking holster, pull out a gun, and shoot you in the head. They can execute you in the street. So they are the fist of the upper class, the fist of the status quo. So they don't get union busted. Their union is allowed to flourish and be strong. Police shouldn't have a union. I don't agree with that. Who would bust the police unions? The police? Yeah. What thugs would they send to bust the strike line on a police strike? Didn't some thugs almost kill you that weren't the police once? What does that have to do with the fucking price of rice in China? So I was the victim of a violent crime and somehow that undermines what I'm talking about? Whatever, bro. What do you think about having a separate legal system for police with higher standards for behavior for them? Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think that police should be filmed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week when they're on duty. You know what I mean? They can, when they go home and they're not in their official capacity, but anytime they're carrying a weapon, so if they're off duty and they're packing, they need to have a body cam on. Because if they happen to intercede in some affair and use their officers' off-duty duty to intercede, they need to be filmed. So if they're packing, body cam. Accountability should be absolutely 100% enforced across the board for every police officer, every peace officer in this country. Do you agree that police should not be allowed to have a union? No, I do not agree. The cops didn't save Paul from the criminals either. Well, I mean, technically they did. I mean, they can't be expected to be sitting on every fucking street corner in America. There's not enough of them, right? So they weren't on my corner when I got carjacked. But when I was dumped out in the middle of fucking nowhere and I made myself to my way to a farmhouse, that person called the police and a sheriff came and picked me up. And while I was on my way back into town, I learned that the police had caught the people who did what was done to me. So in a way, they did what they were supposed to do for me. This idea that everything about the cops is bad needs to go away, all right? I'm all for the restructuring of police officer work. Like, the whole kind of undercurrent of defund the police is take police, make them one unit that is sent to respond to active shooting events and active violence, one unit that is sent for mental health crises, and one unit that's sent for social crises. All of these people trained differently to respond to things in different ways. So let's chop up the police departments and make the people with the guns just the people that you send when somebody with a gun is waving it around somewhere, right? Defund the police was a really bad name, I agree. Like restructure the police would have been a great way of putting it. Redesign the police. All of those things would have worked better than defund the police. Police are not a lost cause, but there's room for improvement. You need police. Why should cops be allowed to have a union if they're the iron fist of the upper class? That should be changed. Cops should no longer be the iron fist of the upper class. They should be the iron fist of protecting the communities that they live in. And that's only going to change through union pressure. A union organization that can exert pressure on the political system and cause this sort of change to happen. It's not going to happen by just bitching about it. I feel like the left kind of sucks at marketing ideas. Like you said, use understandable language, not insular jargon. Look, there's a place for jargon and technical terms and, you know, stuff like that. I'm not trying to poo-poo people that have the loftier conversations and shit. But as a whole, the left needs to get really, really, really good at talking to average people and simplifying ideas. That's it. I'm a huge fan of simplification. It's something that I always try to do. Cut the crap. What crap? Whose crap? I think people are more interested in blowing off steam and feeling righteous indignation, hence the single-day protests that end when the protest never should end. Well, sure. These are all little release valves that the, you know, powers that be allow us. Because they're completely and utterly non-destructive. They don't cost us anything, really. Just go ahead and have your little diggy, you know. Have your little parade. Have your little demonstration. And get back to work. So you're right. It's very easy to watch a fiery leftist firebrand kind of speaker on the internet and feel charged up about it and feel correct because you agree with it than it is to go out and start doing the fucking hard work of unionizing your workplace. So, hey there, Ricky Gervais, what's up? I feel like I spend a lot of time reminding young employees at my job of their rights because I hate seeing the managers use and exploit them. Yeah. Do you think there's any effective way to demonstrate if you follow lockdown restrictions? I don't know that demonstration is what we need right now. I don't know. I really don't know that demonstration is what we need. I mean, I'm not trying to poo-poo protests and shit, but I don't know that another demonstration is what we need. I think we've been demonstrating for too long. I think we need to start focusing ourselves like a laser on the problems of labor and the class solidarity that it brings. And we need to start thinking in terms, I'm sorry to fucking bring this up because a lot of people go, oh, this will never happen. We need to start thinking in terms of a third way politically in this country if we're to affect the type of change that we need to. We need to take leftists who, oh, I'm sorry, baby, who all agree that the status quo sucks, but continue to vote for it and give them an option that they can vote for, which means a third party. Doesn't mean transforming the DNC. That's impossible. That'll never happen. The people that run the DNC will never let that happen. You want proof of that? Look at Bernie's last 2 runs. Watch him get scuttled by the DNC 2 fucking electoral cycles in a row. It's not going to happen. We need a workers' political party in this country. Do you think it's because working people are oblivious to the benefits of collective bargaining or the fear that their quality of life might diminish if they fight for it? They've been steeped in rhetoric that is anti-union for their entire lives, in some cases. If they're my age, they've likely worked jobs where if the word union came up, it was in a negative context. And everything they've learned about the unions is that they were corrupt, they were just picking the pockets of the workers and all of the money funneled to the top. And I'll be honest with you, at a certain part in the unionization movement, that's what it became. Solidarity failed, and union dues stopped going to the collective benefit of workers and started going in the pockets of the fat cats that ran the union. Now, if you want to blame that on the union and not on the constant infiltration and undermining of the fucking government and union busting that went on, you go right ahead. It's something we need to be aware of as people that agitate for the unionization of labor forces.
Most people are just fucking scared because they're kids and shit.
Of course.
They don't want to worry about putting food on their kids' tables. Right now, there's no infrastructure to
Right.
for them during these strikes. They're asked to strike with no.
Right. Well, that's why strikes don't work now. That's why strikes last 2 days, and then people are either fired and replaced or just walk back onto the job and nothing changes. Because an unsupported strike is a dead strike. It's a zombie strike.
And that creates more resentment for the union.
Right. And then people do that and they go, well, fuck this. We walked off, risked our jobs, and for what? Nothing changed. Unionization, boo. It's because it's being done the wrong way.
Or I'm going to break the line because I don't have food on my table. So.
Right. Many working Americans are on a contract saying they will be fired for even talking about unions and live paycheck to paycheck for that company at the cost of their speech. It will be very hard. I never said it wouldn't. What I'm talking about is one of the most epic fucking endeavors that Americans will ever embark on if they choose to. A second rise of unionization in this country would change the face of this fucking planet. And if you think that's going to be easy in any way, I don't know what to tell you. But it's happened before. We've done it before. It can be done again.
There's a lot to learn from the Prohibition movement, too, as misguided as it was.
Yep. The right to work was unfortunately another nail in the union coffin. Yep. These were anti-union legislations that were passed that gave companies the right to effectively union bust. Oh, you're talking about union? You're fired. Hire somebody that doesn't talk about union.
At-will employment.
Yep, at-will employment, right to work. Arizona's a big right-to-work fucking state. These are also, right-to-work states are also the states where waitresses and waiters get paid $2 an hour because they're expected to get X amount of dollars in tips.
And get taxed on those tips.
And get taxed on every dollar of those tips.
Cash is getting
Right.
smaller and smaller in society. Where
Yep. What is it with Americans and this can't-do attitude? It's been instilled in us. I will tell you this, there has been a campaign for the hearts and minds of Americans that's gone on for longer than I've been on this planet. For longer than my parents were on this planet. It started way back when. A psychological warfare campaign waged against our own government, against the hearts and minds of Americans, to instill in them fear instead of empowerment. Now, I may sound like a crazy fucking conspiracy nut saying that, but I'm telling you, it has happened. And that's what's at the heart of the question you just asked. People are fearful now in a way they used to be indignant. The spark that typified America has been reduced to a tiny little ember now. People are just afraid of losing it, afraid of losing their home, losing their marriage, losing their children, losing their livelihood, losing their self-respect. It's all on the line because we've allowed ourselves to be scammed out of it.
Dinor, quiet.
It's enough.
Sit. quiet.
Dinor's just agreeing. I got him fired up. Just chill out.
No. Maybe Mom should start walking around that corner until you learn.
I mean, you're going to have to do it a lot.
I'm sorry, did you want any coffee or no?
Is there some in there? I'd take a cup. Thank you, baby. I didn't know you had coffee. I didn't even notice it. There's power in a factory, power in the land, power in the hands of the worker. Can you have one too, please? If you were around, I'd, socially distantly get you a coffee as well. It's said in Harlan County, there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a working man or a thug for J.H. Blair. Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on? Do you smoke blunts ever? Rarely. I don't know why I get that fucking question every... I'm going to hide you. I'm banning you. I'm tired of answering whether or not I smoke blunts every goddamn fucking stream. I swear to God, the last 10 streams, I've answered that fucking question.
Oh, shit.
What force could ought be weaker than the feeble strength of one? The union makes us strong. We've forgotten this fucking old ass lesson. Solidarity forever. And it requires us to set aside these partisan fucking divisions and link arms with people who have political beliefs that we find reprehensible for a higher purpose.
I mean, think of like the disruption power of like coal miners and fucking oil rig workers. Like, they might not be as many, but they can disrupt things way more.
We could grind this economy to a fucking effectual halt with 50% unionization in this country. Mm-hmm. It's an attainable goal. There's power in a union.
They can't all be Democrats. They can't all be fucking
No.
BLM.
There's no way to effectively organize only leftist labor forces. In fact, there's no such thing as that anywhere under the sun. Labor forces right now are of mixed political fucking affiliation, as they always have been, by the way. Monkey together strong, yes. Monkey divided weak. Monkeys sniping at each other's backs over political fucking nonsense weak. Monkey together strong. Yep. I've told you guys this before, but as soon as the union movement becomes this fucking anarcho, syndicalist, capitalist, anarcho, fucking socialist bullshit, we throw it out the window because we lose about half of this country on rhetoric alone. This has to be a labor movement. Period. No Marx. No Engels, no Communist Manifesto, no Mao Zedong. No, 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 no.
Is That reminds me of some graffiti I saw at Amazon. It'd be like whatever the fucking manager's name was of the warehouse. He makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I shit on company time.
Yeah. I've seen that in the shitter before. I've seen that in the shitter before at work places, at work sites, truck stops. Yep. He makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I shit on company time. I love it.
Sometimes you gotta shit too. Like,
Yep.
can't control when you gotta shit.
Anarchy is censoring people who don't agree with your communistic ideals. Is that what it is? People need to stop thinking of unions as a lefty thing. That's the reason people like my dad think unions make you a lazy commie, right? It can't be, like, look, a labor party on the face of it, like a new labor movement in this country backed by a new labor political party, a third party, would be inherently leftist. But it doesn't have to be presented as such. When it's presented as a party protecting the rights of workers and the people of America first, it can be presented to conservatives.
And I mean, folded into that are worker protections for any number of things, for your race, for your religion, for your
Right.
sexual orientation.
Absolutely.
You don't want anyone fired.
No. That's the point of a union. You don't want anyone fired that isn't endangering the workplace. So the only way somebody gets fired in a union type of environment is that they are just literally refusing to do their job, because that makes everybody look bad and causes everybody else to have to work harder, or is showing up on crack or
just being
drunk.
overly belligerent and
Right. Punching somebody, you know what I mean? Those are the types of things. Those are persona non grata in a union. You fuck up like that, you make the whole fucking factory look bad. See, there's this beautiful synergy that happens. It's not really beautiful because I fucking don't like capitalism, but in the capitalistic system, when a labor union is strong, when I talk to, let me try and put it this way, and I'll get to your $5 super chat in a second, cynical citizen, but I want to get this thought out. I was talking to my mom about unions, and something that kept coming up over and over that really struck me was how much my mom cared about the productivity of the factory that she worked at. And I asked her, because she kept mentioning, like, we didn't want to see those bottles not go out. We didn't want to see those late shipments. And to me, in my mind, it's like she's talking like management. And so I asked her, I was like, why are you talking like that, Mom? Like, why did you care about what the factory would output? If you had problems, why, you know what I mean? She said, why did we care? She said, the whole basis of us being able to have a union was predicated upon the fact that we did the job that we were contracted for. If the factory had bad numbers, it looked bad on our union and made it harder for us to go to the table and fucking bargain. We had a duty to make sure that this factory remained profitable. And it was like, boom, my head was like, whoa, she's so right.
well, that also gives them less excuses to fire you for other reasons.
Exactly.
Actually for union reasons.
Exactly. Paul, you should have seen the anti-union training video at Walmart. The union rep was the most evil-looking, mustachioed villain trying to steal your money. Oh, I believe it. Thank you for your $5, cynical citizen, and I believe it.
You don't want to give them any excuse. You want the only reason that they can fire you being that you're striking.
It's not even about giving them an excuse. It's about the fact that you've come to a contract with this factory saying that these workers are taken care of like this, and we will produce this. And if you don't hold up your end of the bargain, they have impetus to come and take from you. You don't give them that impetus. In fact, if anything, you give them an impetus to give you more. My mom told me that too. She was like, we didn't just want to make numbers. We wanted to make new numbers. I said, what did that mean? We wanted to make numbers that exceeded the expectations of the factory. So that the next time our contract came up, we could go like, productivity's up 15 fucking %, but pay isn't. And I was like, wow. This was like a concept that I'd forgotten.
It's like the meager increase Amazon did to $15 an hour. Part of that was predicated on the increase in productivity.
Right.
They wouldn't have done that if they were doing their same numbers that they did in fucking 2016 or whatever.
I mean, I'm in no way against unions, but I got fired from a union-run Kroger Pick and Save for not meeting a piece rate, stocking rate that was astronomically higher than what I agreed to. Like, look, dude, I'm not going to make excuses for existent unions right now. A lot of the unions, unless they are police unions, teachers unions, public employee unions, or Teamsters. Those are the four kind of unions that still have a little bit of solidarity and power. If you're a member of some smaller fucking union, I'm not going to make any excuses for what happened to you. That shouldn't have happened to you in a unionized shop, but it did. Goes to show you how subverted and weakened unions have become. The union was the reason you lost your job. That's the antithesis of what a union is supposed to be.
You want them to be there for you when you're sick.
Yep. Paul, do you think there could be technical solution to make unions more attractive and efficient, like a social media run union? I mean, I don't know how to do it.
I don't think social media is big enough. The
No.
Twitter world is not everything.
No, the Twitter world is magnified because the media covers it like it's the pulse of the real world. The actuality is that it's nowheresville. It's a large group of people, but that's all it is. It's a large group of people amongst an even more astronomically large group of people that don't participate in that. We need to stop thinking about social media as this fucking place where we're talking to the world. We're not.
Yeah, because I guarantee the fucking grandmas listening to Trump weren't sitting on Twitter reading his tweets or reading his tweets on the news.
Yeah. Thanks, Jimmy Jackson, for the $5. I'll tell you guys the honest truth about me, okay? I come at this from a very blue-collar perspective, and that's all I know. I don't like to speak out of turn, and I don't like to speak about things that I know nothing about. And so when I talk union rhetoric, the type of fiery shit that I spit at you guys about unions here is strictly from that perspective. It's the blue-collar up perspective. That's what I was raised in. My father was a union president. I grew up in a union hall. I watched this shit happen. That's what I know. I can speak to that. I can't be the guy that designs how to reach people with this. I don't have the money. I don't have the know-how technically to design an app or whatever the fuck needs to happen to get this union thing off the ground. I don't have the organizational ability to create that. I need to reach those people with these ideas and find them. Impart my ideas to them as they are needed and turn the reins of this over to people who are smarter and better situated than me to do the right thing. I will never be the leader of a mass movement. I don't have the temperament. You know where I'll be if there's a union movement? Standing on the back of a fucking pickup truck with a little battery-powered PA and a microphone, firing up a fucking group of workers. That's where I'm useful. From the blue-collar fucking level. That's how I speak to you guys about this. That's how I speak about problems of labor. I can't speak from the loftier, overarching position. I know it needs to exist, but I can never be one of those big fucking top union boss people. I don't have that. I'm not that. I'm the sum of what I was raised to be. When it comes to my knowledge about this shit, it's limited to that. It's limited to that very grassroots factory level. I know how it works there. I've seen it. I've seen solidarity come together and fill the streets of fucking Las Vegas with people for years in support of a concession. I've seen it happen. I've been part of it. But that's it.
The internet, like we said, doesn't represent everyone because it's mainly people that work desk jobs that have the time to tweet
Right.
and be on Reddit and shit.
People that are out there working out in the sun and shit all day, they don't have time to be fucking checking their Twitter all goddamn day. And when they come home, they probably don't. They sit down and watch a movie, eat a dinner, talk to their family, and go to sleep. People having the idea that what they say online has an impact on reality has the reverse effect where they don't actually take action because they have, right, it's called slacktivism. Oh, I made a bunch of fiery pro whatever tweets, or I did a stream like this, so I'm a big union. Yeah, I did my part for the day. No.
And this is what you're limited to because you can't just drop everything and go work at Starbucks again.
Well, I mean, even if, how would that serve the labor movement?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is what I do, but I don't have any illusions that I'm organizing some big labor movement here. I'm just trying to get my fucking ideas out there, and maybe the right person hears it. Maybe this leads to a talk with a person that can fundamentally lead me down a road where I can get these ideas in front of the people that need to hear them. And then step back and be in an advisory position or be a fucking organizer or a fucking speaker at the union meetings and shit. I can do that. I don't want to be the boss. I can't. So that's what I'm hoping here. That's my hope. And it's like a wish upon a star Jiminy Cricket type of fucking hope. Trust me. But that's all I can do. What can I do? You know, right now, nobody wants to hear from me at a labor protest if it's going on. Nobody knows who I am. So I can't stand up at on the back of the pickup truck with the little battery powered PA and do my fucking thing. So I'm trying to spread it amongst you. And I'm hoping that maybe something that I say here reaches the right person who sends it to the right person or whatever the fuck. And I can at least be listened to by somebody that has the power to affect this actual change. Or somebody who's adjacent to it. I don't know. What else can I fucking do? What can you do? Tony's favorite phrase. What can you do? What can you do? What kind of organization do you think could actually hold another labor movement? A national labor organization, well-funded, that sends agents recruited from the local areas that we want to start unionizing in, creates a plan for sectionally unionizing part of the United States as a trial period to get union dues flowing in, and then using those influx of dues to hire more agents to unionize more places to get more dues, so that eventually we have a kind of limit enough to where we can have a whole industry walk out. And we do targeted strikes first that are heavily supported. So talking about like having 60% of the Amazon fulfillment centers in the United States be closed down, and have that strike be supported heavily with a union presence. Why don't I put my money where my mouth is? I don't have the amount of money that we're talking about here. We're talking millions of dollars to establish what I'm talking about. If you can give me millions of dollars, I will try and find the person that would best spend it. But I'm definitely not the person, even if I had the $1 million. I think that right now our biggest challenge is getting over this us versus them mentality and learning to coexist with people who have political ideas that we don't agree with or find reprehensible in the workplace. I think that's the biggest hump that we need to get over as a species, because we've been so divided now that the Civil War rhetoric is being done openly on national news media now. Civil War, question mark? Is the United States blah blah blah, like that's the level of division that we have to try and build a bridge over here. And to kind of bring it back to what I was talking about earlier, when I see leftists with a platform that's quadruple, quintuple, 10 times fucking mine, sniping at workers during a time where I feel like this is really our only chance, is this solidarity movement, this new labor movement, new labor party. It pisses me off. I mean, people can do with their platforms what they will. It's not my job to tell them what to do with their fucking platforms, but I can have my opinion what they ought to be doing with their platforms, can I not? Dirty D. What do you got there? You got your ball? Give it to me. No one is sniping workers. Oh, okay. So can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question about the Vosh tweet? That you're clearly here to whine about my response to? Can I ask you a question about it? Come on. Where you at? Hello. I don't know about the Vosh tweet in reference. Then why did you make a comment referencing what was talked about in the Vosh tweet? At man is scared. He might be. See, you said no one is sniping workers, prima donna Andy. Ha 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 ha. So I'll give you one more attempt. Which tweet, yo? All right, never mind. Just never mind. Go on about your business, bud.
If you're not gonna look at the context, then you're just gonna respond to a screenshot.
Then go on. Go on about your business. It would take you like 3 seconds to go to my Twitter and look at the context. Andy is just Twitch speak. Yes, it is. It's like low elo Andy or fucking what's the one in World of Warcraft? Classic Andy. Console Andy. No need to have an intellectual discussion with a meme lord. Shouldn't he be spamming peppy emojis? Yeah. Don't you have a peppy to spam? Peppiga. People said. My apologies if you heard this a million times, but it ain't too late to get into crypto, my friend. I don't play the casino, but thank you.
Oh shit! Marshall just dropped the Never Loyal music.
I know. I sent everybody over there earlier,
Yeah.
but now there's more people here, so I'm gonna do it again. If you just joined me and you haven't done so, go over to Marshall Manson's channel. One of my specters will link it there in the chat for you. Subscribe and watch his new music video. He's been working like a fucking fiend on it. I got to watch an earlier version of it about a month ago, and it was crazy then. I haven't yet watched it because it came out while I was streaming this. So head over there now. Have one of my specters fucking spam the link in the chat. Spam it up.
I got it in there.
Show Marshall some love. One of the most talented guys that I've ever had the pleasure of working with. A hard worker and a guy that deserves a way wider audience than he has. So go help him build that audience. Considering that Vosh spends a lot of time talking about worker co-ops and unions on stream, I think I can forgive one stupid tweet from Guy. So can I. I just think he needs to stop pretending he doesn't know what my criticism is. And to take it under his wing that maybe demonizing the entire conservative movement as a bunch of crybabies who poop on their work floor and then complain about getting fired because they're conservative might not be the best way to instill an idea of worker solidarity needed to push a mass union movement. So his talk about unions on his stream, which I'm not aware of, I don't watch his stream, that's greatly appreciated if he's doing that. But he should probably do that without alienating 50% of the workers.
He's referencing a trending story without giving context.
Right. He made a tweet referencing a trending story and then made a bunch of disparaging remarks and implied a bunch of disparaging situations like shitting on the floor of work, calling coworkers N-words, neither of which the person who he was actually referencing was fired for doing. Jesus Christ. How many engines? 4. That's a 4-engine train. Holy fuck. I bet it's one of those ones that has an engine pushing it too. Yeah, trigger warning for the music video violence. That's understating. No, it wasn't a pusher. Didn't have a pusher engine, too. I've seen a number of those trains where they've got like 4 or 5 engines pulling, and then they have 2 pushing. Pretty crazy.
I mean, the gore factor is pretty low, honestly.
What?
Video.
I mean, hey, it's pretty fucking gory. It has its moments.
It ain't fucking
It's explosively gory.
Thick fucking.
It's explosively gory. I'll tell you that much. It has its moments. Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to Vosh, when I talked with him, I felt like that he and I shared a lot of common visions for the future of humanity. But I feel like that we didn't share a whole lot of vision when it came to the strategy for getting there. And that is spun by people who are themselves kind of partisans one way or the other as this big kind of divide between the two of us when really it isn't. I think he says stupid shit every once in a while. He clearly thinks I say stupid shit every once in a while, but that doesn't preclude me from thinking that, you know, he's more friend than foe when it comes to being a leftist. That being said, when he finds himself on the wrong side of labor, he's always going to find himself on the wrong side of me, even if it's perceived. Even if it's just a thoughtless tweet where he throws out shit like shits on the work floor and kind of points it in general at the right. To me, that's him being on the wrong side of labor. Didn't he accuse you of not having a strategy? He rightfully accused me of not having a strategy. When I went and talked with him, I really hadn't started to coalesce my union ideas.
I think your biggest issue was with his presentation, I think. These out of context tweets.
I mean, there's a lot of sniping against different groups of fucking people in his content from what I've seen. And like I said, I don't watch the dude as often as a lot of people do. I see a Vosh clip every once in a fucking blue moon and I'll watch a few minutes of it, but I do not watch his streams. I'm just not a fan of his stuff when it comes to his presentation style and shit. I really don't care about that. I care about results and I care about the end results. And I really care about labor and the plight of the average person. And I think that if we don't focus ourselves as leftists on that like a fucking laser, then we are doing a disservice to people.
Putting all your weight on like one part of my leg.
Oh, D. He too heavy. He a heavy floof mallow. Huh. You a heavy boy?
You're not really a bad dog.
No. It's one size too big to be a comfy lap dog, but he still likes it. I understand why the big companies in the U.S. don't want unions because they are great for us workers. I hope it will become a thing for you guys again. Do you think being forced to work a job you don't want is the equivalency of slavery? No. But I think there's a difference between slavery and wage slavery. Those two concepts are different things. Like actual chattel slavery is its own thing. If you haven't read the history of slavery, go look into it, and you'll understand why it's different from having to work a shit job that you don't like, okay? But wage slavery is a thing, where a person is forced to work a soul-crushing job, because if they don't, they lose their home, they lose their children, they lose their pension, or whatever it is, they're under the gun. That's wage slavery.
Keeping you right at paycheck to paycheck.
Right. Hand to mouth. You're basically never more than one paycheck from total destitution, so you have no choice but to continue to soldier forward and go to the job that you hate. Or maybe try and make a lateral move to another job that you hate. So yeah, wage slavery and slavery are not the same thing, though. I want to make that very fucking clear. If you want to look at an example of something that's very much closer to chattel slavery that's still going on in the U.S., look at the thousands of prisoners who were untrained in any way who were sent to fight California wildfires and shit.
And then are barred from being said firefighters after they get out.
Right. Once they get out, though, even though they spent and got all this on-the-job training fucking doing it, they're not allowed a position as a firefighter when they get out of prison. They were just forced to do that. For no money.
Or for negligible.
Right. That's how we get away with slavery in the United States. We pay them 42 cents an hour. And we go like, that's not slavery. Even though they're not allowed to leave the bunks that we set them up. And they're not allowed to work on land that isn't patrolled by people with guns that if they run, they'll, like, how is this different from fucking slavery? Because they got caught doing a heroin deal? You really want to focus on that fucking difference? No, that's real, honest to goodness, pretty close to fucking chattel slavery going on in the United States right now. And guess what? Shockingly, it happens disproportionately to black men. Just another coinky-dink, huh? Just another big old coincidence. It's constitutional, though. Yeah, well, whatever. The Constitution, in my opinion, needs to be torn right down the middle and rewritten. I have no reverence for that document beyond the fact that it was a foundational document to what this place is now. It needs an update.
Look at state constitutions. Those are getting updated way more
Constantly.
specific.
Constantly updated and allow for things like Washington's insanely progressive single-payer state health plan. You're a resident of Washington, you don't pay for your fucking health care if you don't have the money to. And it's reasonably decent. But for some reason, we got to keep that dusty, crusty old slave owner written parchment sacrosanct and fucking behind a plate glass window this thick in the Library of Congress. Give me a fucking break.
Can you get down? Shifting too much.
This country is so fundamentally different than it was when that Constitution that was written that it hardly fucking even applies anymore. Time for a rewrite. Washington State or DC State? I don't know about DC. I lived in Washington State and discovered while I lived there that they had a state healthcare plan that you could sign up for that covered you as long as you were a legal resident of Washington. I live in Seattle and I have no job, so Right. That shouldn't impact your access to healthcare. It might not be the fucking best healthcare in the world, but if you're a legal resident of Seattle, it should not impact your access to healthcare. And you probably have better access to social programs than most people. You're lucky to not have a job in Seattle and not have a job in Houston, Texas. I worked for 10 years only to get downsized. Union. If you had a union, you wouldn't have been downsized. I don't know how people can afford to live in Seattle. All of Seattle isn't the expensive Capitol Hill area of Seattle. There are areas of Seattle and adjacent fucking communities to Seattle that are pretty fucking cheap to live in comparison. A lot of people live in those cheaper communities and then commute to Seattle for work.
They have pod apartments.
Or they live in tiny little fucking studio apartments and pay a profound amount of their fucking wage to maintain that. The Bay Area in California is one of the worst places to live in terms of like accessibility of living expenses and shit in the world. It also has some of the most profound ghettoization that you'll ever see in a metropolitan area. I'm not necessarily talking about just San Francisco proper. I'm talking about the communities that surround San Francisco, Oakland. Fuck, there's another one. I had a friend that lived in this other suburb of.
Isn't Oakland up north though?
It's in the Bay Area though.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's right across the bay from San Francisco. San Jose. It wasn't San Jose. There was this little town that was in the Bay Area near Oakland, Richmond, Hayward. It wasn't one of those, but I'd be able to find it on a fucking map. It wasn't Concord. It wasn't Fremont.
Chino?
No, Chino's way up north, I think. San Bernardino, Piedmont. Nope. I'll remember it when I see it, but you guys don't have to keep naming off things. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That place was just hood. Berkeley's in LA. Or in the LA area. No, it isn't. Wait a minute. Isn't Berkeley's in the Bay Area. I don't fucking know, dude. I was just born and raised in California. What do I know? Rancho Cucamonga, no. No. Wasn't Emeryville, nope. I know you have a doomer mindset. Is there actually anything positive about America? Absolutely. There's plenty of positivity about America. Like when you look at it from a person-to-person standpoint, there's a lot of good people in America. There's a lot of people that care a lot about their families. A lot of people that work really hard and try their best to give their families a better life than they had. They struggle for that. They work hard for that. That's part of the American spirit that hasn't died. People work their asses off in this country. Single mothers working multiple jobs, barely having any time, trying to raise their kids right. That's an American story, almost uniquely.
Charity.
Right. There's a lot of fucking charity organizations that do a lot of good work for animals and for people alike in this country. There's a lot of good in America. America's not this horrible, poisonous fucking thing on the microcosmic community individual level. Now, when you look at America as a presence globally, we're a canker sore on this planet. The cost of that relative fucking comfort is the exportation of so much violence and so much strip mining and so much deforestation that you wouldn't even fucking believe it. Were people generally nicer when you lived in Louisiana than normal? No.
Louisiana's, I think, one of those places where if you ain't from there, you ain't getting far.
And it's got a very distinct "fuck you, I got mine" kind of attitude about it too. You know where I felt like people were like pretty nice? Texas.
Yeah. There's a lot of transplants to Texas for sure.
Yeah, I met a lot of actual
Arizona
fucking
too, huh?
Arizona too. Yeah, Arizona was a very welcoming state as well, but also a very heavily transplanted state. The people in Texas that I knew that I felt were very overly welcoming to me were generational Texans. They'd been there forever. And so there seemed to be this kind of like open door kind of Southern hospitality thing. Like, for example, I'll give you the example, right? And you have to understand, some people don't understand this. I was a number of years older than Ashley. So when I moved down to Texas, I wasn't expecting her family to really roll out the doormat for me because I'm this older dude who just got fucking divorced and I'm dating their their early 20s daughter and, blah, 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 blah. And I found the exact opposite. I moved there right before Christmas. I was invited to Christmas and they bought me presents and fed me on Christmas Day and treated me like I was one of the family and didn't treat me like I was some kind of fucking weirdo cradle robbing piece of shit. They were concerned about Ashley, but once they saw that I was a decent person, you know what I mean? And that was like, whoa, because you can't expect that everywhere. That's a genuine, like, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt kind of mentality that I did not expect to find in Texas. I don't think you would find that in Louisiana as easily. I'm not saying everybody in Louisiana is some fucking shitbag. They're not. But there is definitely an overarching kind of fuck you,
Yeah.
leave me alone, this is my property
Yeah.
kind of.
Fucking New Orleans just feels incredibly predatory.
It is. It's one of the most dangerous cities in America crime-wise. So it's an incredibly...
Everyone's out to fucking scam you.
Oh, yeah. It's like a tourist trap, but with less rules than your usual tourist trap. Your usual tourist trap scams you with shitty merch that you don't want. New Orleans just straight out scams you. If you're a dumbass tourist, a fool and his money are soon parted. And that's just kind of like laissez-faire down there. It's just kind of like, oh, well, that's the way it is. Your dumbass walks down there with your wallet hanging out your back pocket and you got your pocket picked. Oh, well, you learned your lesson. It's like, okay.
People will come up to you and fake being nice, and
Oh, yeah.
they'll give you something, and then they'll be like, all right, pay me now.
People, they do that. There's pickpocket teams where somebody will walk up to you with a sob story, and while you're listening, there's another dude that works for them that you don't even see that bumps into you from behind in a crowded area, and your wallet just walked away. Oops. It's as common as a fucking rainy day in LA. Or New Orleans. The Louisiana LA. Yeah, no thanks, I'm local is a good fucking defense because it typically lets people know that you're not, so if you're ever like, I'm not saying don't go to New Orleans. There's a whole flavor there. That city is fucking ancient.
Yeah.
It's one of the oldest metropolises in America. It was established way back before America was even a fucking thing by the French, and then the Spanish took it over, and there's all of these cultural influences that exist there, and it's created this really stinky, smelly, gross, sweaty, but it's filled with this crazy fucking music, this crazy hot jazz, and this crazy attitude of hucksterism and, busking. And, if you like that kind of thing, it's okay to go there, but wear a money belt and don't talk to anybody on the fucking street you don't know. It is a cool place to go see. I'm glad I experienced it and everything, but now that I've seen it, I don't need to see it no more. Good seafood, good food in general. Louisiana food is delicious. Cajun food is wonderful. New York is a different beast in my experience. Dirty in a different way, disregarding in a different way and dangerous in a different way, but you know, I guess comparable.
There's more watch public areas, I think, in New York.
Yeah.
You're gonna see mounted police and shit.
I mean, it depends too on where you are, which borough you're in, and where you are in New York.
There's more public transit, so.
Right. Like, I don't know. New York has probably changed a little bit since last I was there. The last time I was in New York was 1994, so it's been quite some fucking time. I was 14 years old the last time I was in the Rotten Apple. And I found that city to be entrancing. The dirtiness and grossness and yuckiness of that city was just so fucking unique and awesome in a way that's not the case in Louisiana. It's just piss and shit in the street. Like it is in New York too, but that's different. It's different.
Not baked in.
I don't know what, I don't know how to put it. Thank you for making me think. Your streams make a difference, at least for me. You're welcome, my friend. Thank you for the Norwegian kroners.
Yeah, there's a baked in piss, shit, and vomit and fucking
True
problems.
that.
It's
New York, I don't know. It had the industry and the commerce of that place blew me the fuck away. It was like, oh, thank you, baby. I was in awe at the crazy efficiency of it all. And I was in awe at what we had created as a species. Being in downtown Manhattan and looking up at those buildings, there are places where I walked in Manhattan where it was a full-blown sunny day, not a cloud in the sky, and the sun never touched the ground because the buildings blocked it. Fucking insane. I'll never forget it. It left an indelible mark on me, being in that city. I don't know that I would want to live there, but holy fuck. Yeah, I haven't been to the city since 9/11. So that'd be weird for me too, because I have this really indelible memory of that skyline, which of course was dominated by the Twin Towers. I don't even know I would recognize it if I went again. That's a crazy thought to have. Thoughts on Sacktown? I don't really like Sacramento all that much. I haven't spent a whole lot of time, but I don't know. It's cold as fucking Missouri. How's the weather there? Pretty fucking cold. Just breezy, kind of icy, chilly shit out here. Have you addressed the Vosh comments already? Yes, you can go rewind the stream at towards the very beginning, and for a while we talked about that. We had a whole chat. So yeah, you can go take a look at the beginning of the stream for that if you're interested or whatever the fuck. Kind of missed that. I'm no fan of that dude. I don't blame you. It's not all that important. Like, I wouldn't recommend that anybody it's not even really all that drama. You know, even if you're a drama hound fan or whatever, there's not much drama to be found. There's not a lot of meat on that bone. Just a salty back and forth that Vosh and I had on Twitter that shockingly the people that always agree with Vosh pretended that they just didn't understand. They acted like I just made some complete non sequitur comment or some shit. But you can hear me talk about all that at the beginning of the stream. Who cares about internet drama anymore? A waste of time. I agree. Poor Squiddly. Did you get banned or did you quit? Vosh bad. Vosh bad. Will you ever travel to Egypt to see the Great Pyramids? I don't know, dude. Probably not. I would love to, but I don't know if now is the time to do that. Yeah. Watch Keemstar if you like internet drama. Is there a possible way to find out which cities have more jerks per capita? I really don't think that there's a different amount of jerks in most cities. I think that there's just a lot of jerks. I saw this couple that snuck on top of them and fucked. Cool. On top of the... I think Marshall might be behind on the stream. You talking about the Twin Towers? Oh, on top of the pyramids. Oh, okay. I forgot we were talking about the pyramids. Yeah, that's crazy. That's one place to fuck. I keep hoping they'll introduce easily piloted, mostly autopiloted pod-type quadcopters for tourism so people can rent them out and drive them wherever they want to go. That'd be pretty dope. Watch any of these comedians' podcasts, like Tiger Belly, whatnot? Nope. I do not. Jurassic World style hamster balls for tourism. That'd be kind of cool. Less environmental impact that way, you know? So long as they had systems built in. Dude, this car that I got, this is my first, like, new car in a long time. The last new car that I bought was in 2006. So I've never actually owned a car that has a backup camera before, right? So that's new to me. Backup camera. And this car has that shit that senses a collision from the front and auto brakes, has a lane departure warning, has this light that lights up under my fucking side mirrors to let me know if something's in my blind spot. It's crazy. The amount of, like, safety features that have been added to cars and shit. Like, I told the dude when I bought the car, I was like, the most concern that I have is for safety. I want a safe car. And they got me the package that, you know what I mean, was their safest one. Has the side cameras, so I see my car from the top. Like, when I look at the little screen and I'm backing up, I can see not just in front of my car, but I can see behind it and to both sides of it. And it's got this little fake representation of the top of my car there. What's the model of car? It's a 2020 Nissan Kicks. Not like a expensive ass fucking car or anything. Just like a really good on gas mileage car. And I leased it, so in 3 years I'll probably turn it in and get another lease. Can you drive a manual? Yes. If Amelia could drive manual, I would get a manual transmission car. I prefer to drive manual, but I also know that it wouldn't make any sense for us to have two cars. Like, that's just an expense that makes no sense. I know how to drive automatic, and automatics have gotten, like, really good. You know, they used to be kind of shitty in the 90s. Aren't those all-wheel drive or something? I don't know, honestly. They might be. You can go look into it and shit. Like, I got to be honest with you. What I looked at with the car was the price, which was reasonable. It was not a fucking expensive car. It's definitely in that like targeted towards college kids range of price, and that's what I was looking. I don't like the idea of having an expensive ass overblown car. It had good gas mileage, and it had all of the safety features that I wanted on it. I wanted that auto sensing braking thing, the blind spot warnings, the fucking this, the fucking that. What was the car you got robbed in? I got robbed in a 1981, or I always remember. It's either an 81 or an 84 Ford Tempo. I can never remember what year it was. But yeah, I was sitting in a 1980X Ford Tempo 5-speed. White. Manual transmission. And that was the car that I got carjacked in. I was picked up because they could hear the bass coming out of the radio. I had a boxed Lanzar sub in the back that took up one half of my trunk, and then I had the amp, and I had a nice sound system in it, and so that's why I got robbed. I got robbed because they heard the sound system when I was playing a song, and they thought that that was going to be worth a lot of money, and it probably would have been worth a decent chunk of change. Polly Bumpins, yeah. And they thought they smelled weed. I was smoking a cigarette in the car. I didn't even have any weed at that point. But I was smoking a cigarette, and when they walked by, they thought they smelled weed. So I was rolled because they thought I had weed and a good sound system in my car. So it was an 84 then. Yeah, I always get mixed up on the year. I remember it was an 80s car. And I always think 81 or 84, so. Did they catch them? Yeah. Yeah, they caught them. So the story goes from the police. They caught them because they drove back to town, which the closest big town was Fresno, California. And they were driving around downtown Fresno, California at like 3 a.m. and they were still wearing their ski masks. And they passed by a cop who, saw them driving the car wearing their ski masks. And as that cop initiated a chase, and as that chase went out, the sheriff's office called in that they had picked up the driver of the car and filled them in on what had happened to me. And other law enforcement joined the chase, and they took my Ford Tempo almost all the way to Madera, California from Fresno. They got to the Avenue 12 off-ramp, started to go up the off-ramp, and then decided, let's not do this, and went off of it and crashed my car, broke the front axle, got out and ran, and had police dogs released on them. And they were caught like that. During the course of it, they tossed the pistol that they used in the crime, and that was later recovered. My car was actually able to be fixed. Because it was such an old car, they were able to find a front axle. It didn't wreck the body of the car all that badly. And so because it was such an old car, they were able to find the front wheel panels and the front axle and get the car back running. So I actually had that car for a while till it finally died. Did it die from injuries sustained during the crash? It was never quite the same after the crash. So I think it did, yeah. It got put back together, and I used it for another, I think, 6 or 8 months, and then it eventually just started to not work. And so I got rid of it and got another car that was even worse. The next car I got was a 1990 red Dodge Daytona. And I think about 2 weeks after I got that car, I got my first speeding ticket because it looked all fast. I was driving on a road where I was doing the same speed as everybody else, which was probably 10 miles over the speed limit. And I got pulled over for it because I was red. And then that car had an automatic transmission, and the tranny was fucking bad on it. It had trouble shifting out of second into third. So second would go like, you know, like it had this like real rough transition out of second into third. It was just a shit car. Yeah, it had a big motor. It had a V6 in it. Yeah, I'll never own a red car again. What did you drive when you were white picket fence, Paul? I owned a Scion XB. So that was the first new car that I ever owned. In 2006, I went down and bought a brand new 2006 Scion XB. And I drove that car for like 10 years before I got rid of it. And that was a 5-speed. So a manual transmission, and that was nice. I missed that little car. That was fun to drive and fun to have and easy to maintain. It was a good little car. I have a new Ford Ranger truck, great truck. Only sad part is that to change the oil, you have to literally remove the front left tire. That's kind of lame. Damn, so only manuals. If I have, yeah, like at that time, I was engaged to be married to somebody who had a job elsewhere from mine, so we had to have 2 cars. So I had my car, she had her car. And if I get to have a car that's my car, it's a 5-speed or a 6-speed. I don't fuck around with automatic transmissions for my car. But in the situation I live in now, it doesn't make sense for us to have 2 cars. So we share a car. She can't drive a 5-speed. I'm fine driving a fucking automatic. I just prefer 5-speed. That's it. I was trained on that shit. When I was first learning, I stalled my manual. Like my dad, okay, so I learned to drive manual transmission in my dad's old Willys Jeep, which is one of the most stall-prone fucking manual transmissions you'll ever use. Not modernized at all as a 5-speed. And so, yeah, when I was learning, that's what you do. You stall out. You have to learn to let off the clutch and apply gas at the same time. You're used to using one foot to drive. I never learned to do that. I now know how to do it, obviously, but I didn't learn that way. I learned that both feet were engaged. Your left foot for the clutch, you know, and your right foot for the brake and gas. And so I learned on a very, very persnickety manual that you had to hit just at the right time to switch. You had to know how hard to hit the clutch. I learned how to double clutch. My dad taught me all that shit when I was 10 years old. He took me out on our property and taught me how to drive the Jeep. And then once I learned how to drive on our property, he took me on a deserted country road out there and let me drive up and down it. Taught me to double clutch. Taught me how to fucking do the right thing. Taught me how to use the clutch in a mountainous, hilly area. He took me to a place called Roller Coaster Hills out by where I used to live. And taught me how to use downshifting to keep your speed normalized instead of you riding the brake like you have to in a manual. Taught me how to drive right. I was 10 years old. And so when I first got my my Tempo, I was ready to go because that was an easy fucking 5-speed. You didn't have to do shit on the clutch for that. It was actually a fun little car. It was a four-banger engine, so I'm not claiming it was fast, but it was fun to drive. It was zippy. It was light. So, like, you could get on it if you needed to. You know what I mean? I liked driving that little car. It was fun. What cheap car would you get today? I just bought a new car. And it's a relatively cheap car. I didn't go like get an expensive fucking $40,000 car or some shit. I got a cheap car. My parents refused to get in the car with me, had to learn by pissing people off for a year or two. I almost wrecked, yeah. I mean, my parents wanted me to be a good driver because I think a lot of that had to do with the car accident that we were in when I was very little. And so both me and my sister learned to drive a car very early on in our lives. Because our parents, I think, wanted us to be prepared for that. I want a diesel car. Why? No, I definitely don't drive a lifted pickup. I just told you guys what I drive. I drive a Nissan Kicks. Manly. What a manly car. Before that, I drove a Ford Fiesta. Ooh, damn. Manly. Looked like a little ladybug driving down the street. Is it kicks or kicks like the series? It's kicks like you kicked the ball. Kicks. I know, it's a weird name. What are you going to do? I didn't name the fucking thing. I'm not a car person. Here's the thing. If I was super rich, I appreciate cars. My dream car is an early 70s Corvette Stingray. That like multiple coats of competition orange. Waxed to a fucking mirror finish. Black racing stripe offset to the left driver's side that goes from the front all the way to the back over the hood. That's my dream car. I would love to own that. I would love to drive that around. But outside of that, outside of my appreciation for that car and a few other types of cars, I'm not a car person. I don't really care about a car. Those aren't actually too expensive anymore. I don't want to maintain one. I don't want to, you know what I mean? It's one of those things that if I was really fucking rich at some point, I'd maybe consider getting to tool around in, but... Are you going to get your kicks on Route 66? That would be fun. I could drive Route 66 in my kicks and speed. And then when the cops pulled me over, I'd be like, look, I'm just getting my kicks on Route 66 and see if they let me off with that. You know what I mean? Joke. I don't think they will, but maybe they will. If I catch the right cop with the right kind of sense of humor, he'd be like, go on, I'm good. Yeah, they'd probably pull me out of my kicks and kick me. Automatic. Yeah, dude. Automatic. Step out of the car, please. We're going to do a field sobriety test. I'm like, shit. I just said competition orange. Competition orange, black racing stripe offset to the left. That runs perpendicular with the car's body. So, all the way over the car. That's my dream. I want like 8 or 10 coats. of competition orange. 8 or 10. I want that thing to just be deep, lustry. Ooh-wee. Route 66 no longer exists. That's not true. I drove it on my way out of Louisiana. I got my kicks on Route 66. There's actually a big giant casino there that was closed for COVID that I remember passing by, called Route 66 Casino. So yeah, no, it definitely exists. It exists, but parts of it are no longer maintained. There you go. Somebody just tried to tell me Route 66 doesn't exist. I was like, we drove Route 66, dude.
Yep. Hours.
We was on Route 60. Oh, we were on Route 69, Marshall says. Shit. We were reading the sign wrong. We were seeing what we wanted to see.
I got some groceries coming.
Oh, sweet. American roads seem so big and relaxing to drive on, better than the windy country roads I drive on in Ireland. Some roads are like that, and it depends. Like, the United States is such a mixed bag. You should be thankful that in Ireland you've got like some level of consistency in your roads, if you do. Because America, like the roads, you remember how it was, babe? The roads would literally change at the state line. We'd be going like driving on a potholy piece of shit, and then it'd be like, welcome to this state, and it'd be like, we're like, what happened? Yeah, driving on windy roads through the hillsides of Ireland in a little Aston Martin with the driver side on the left with
on the right.
Oh yeah, the driver's side on the right with a scarf around my neck.
Yeah.
And driving goggles and those driving gloves that only fit down to this part of your hand. Maybe smoking a cigarette in a Tipperillo. Doodly-doo, doodly-doo. Yeah, and a woolen cap. Yes. Toodly-toodly-doo. That sounds awesome. That sounds really fun. I'd like to do that. Maybe a pipe. Toodly-tee.
I have a pipe that stay lit with all that.
It would. I'm gonna invent the self-lighting pipe. On your way to buy a shillelagh, yes. Oh, don't mind me. I'm on my way to buy a shillelagh. On me way. Toodly-too, diddly-dee, tweedly-twee, toodly-twee. Off topic, but would you consider getting a standing desk for helping with your posture? I know you say you have to take breaks from sitting, so it might be good for you to try. I've actually considered this. I want to try and find a work, like, so here's my plan. This is my short-term plan for the technology at my house. Me and Amelia just bought her a new laptop. She's tested that out. It works really good. I want to get one that's slightly better than that laptop and set up a standing desk and have that laptop hooked up as a secondary machine and have it handle all of the streaming. And then have my desktop handle all of the content and stuff. And so I want to have a standing desk that I can stand up at during the show, that I still have the show in front of me. This is going to necessitate me getting a pair of Bluetooth in-ear headphones of some kind too, because I can't be fucking around with that. And probably a second microphone. either a second microphone or a slightly bigger arm than I have right now that'll allow me to manipulate my mic over where I need it to be. No laptop, just get... I have 2 monitors. I don't need a secondary monitor. I need to have 2 stations. One where I can sit down and one where I can stand up. Use a lapel mic. I've used those in the past, and you can see I have a lot of things that interfere with the typical lapel mic. Typically, you want to place a lapel mic like somewhere like here or somewhere like here. And you can see in my natural state, even wearing this type of clothing is bad for lapel mics. Because this type of clothing, if you're animated and shit, wants to like... I used a lapel mic during... Cinema for Cynics for quite a long time, and I played fucking hell doing retakes because I know I'd brushed up against that mic. Attach it to the end of your beard. That might work, because my beard isn't super, like, flappy. So if I put it, like, right here... that would probably be the best place for it. I'd have to make sure that no hairs were rubbing up against it, though, as I talked. That's the problem. You have anything brush up against the front of a lapel mic, it goes... sounds horrible. And I've got hair that would be hanging in that shit. I'd have to put it, like, down here.
That ain't no good.
And that's typically not where you want a lapel mic. What would work for me is a shotgun mic. So if I could get a really good directional shotgun mic with a fucking, you know, sound isolation cone around it and put that somewhere off camera, then I could have an easily accessible double mic setup.
Oh my god. Look at this meme referencing what we talked about last night.
Lawyer cat. Advocate. You ever just get like a ringing in your ear?
Yeah.
What is that from?
I don't know. When my ears are waterlogged, I'll do that sometimes.
Oh man, it just happened to me right now. At the end of that last sentence that I said, this ear just went like bing, and now it's slowly fading to normal.
It might be because you've been sitting out here for so long too. The cold.
Low iron. You think so? Yeah, it's slowly but surely fading away, but I got this immediate like bing. Big swings can do that. What do you mean? Brain tumor. Great. That's all I need. All I need is a brain tumor, man. Oh, swings and air pressure? I guess that's possible. Maybe a storm front is kind of blowing in, and
It was raining pretty good last night.
yeah, it was sprinkling last night, and it's
Supposed to
windy
rain
today.
pretty good tomorrow.
It's supposed to rain tomorrow, yeah. Yeah. It's not a tumor. It's anything but a tumor. Tinnitus is when you experience ringing or other noises in one or both of your ears. The noise you hear when you have tinnitus isn't caused by external sound, and other people usually can't hear it. Yeah, I know that. That much I know. I can sense the trains now. Maybe that is. Tinnitus is not constant. Tinnitus can be constant or intermittent. I have tinnitus forever. Yeah. I know I damaged my hearing a lot in my younger years. That's for sure. I was very not conscious of my hearing health in my younger years. I used to listen to old analog radios with old analog fucking headphones plugged into them and just rock out. And then I roadied for a long time, spent a lot of time in bars listening to super cranked fucking music. And that did a number on me, man. I'm 40 years old and my hearing is no bueno.
Why you look so sad?
Because I am sad.
You're all warm from the sun.
Poke your little head up here. Oh, yeah. Oof. Nice and warm from the sun. You been sundogging? You been sundogging it? Look at this little turd. You guys, he's gonna move now. He's so camera shy, he knows. He's been sundogging it. You been sundogging it, Dinor?
You're a Hufflepuff.
You been sundogging.
What was that noise?
That
Weird.
whack whack.
Yeah.
I think there's like a goose or something maybe flying over. See that shadow?
Yeah.
Might have been a goose. Do you hear a goose? No, he's not a schnoodle. I could see how you might mistake him for a schnoodle. He is a Shih Tzu, Chihuahua, Cocker Spaniel Hound. A true mutt. A true mutt. Hee hee hee. Hee hee and ho ho ho. Yeah, he's definitely a dinosaur. It's Dirty D. Dirty Dusty D. Oh, you gonna go get your ball? Let me see your ball. Which one do you select? Well, you have to hand it. Hand it. Ready, steady, go. Bring it, bring it, bring it. Quick, quick, quick. Let's do this. Whoa! All right. All right. Here, look. I got it. Ready, ready, steady. Ah, you went too fast. I didn't say go. Go that way. Come on. Is that it? 2 laps is it? Or are you rolling it back over to me again? Here we go. Ready? Ready? Hey. Ready? Steady. He's so distractible. Ready? Go. Come on, bring it. Get your ball. Bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it. Don't leave it. Get your ball.
You're staring right at it.
Get your ball.
No.
There's the...
Not more. Why do you do this?
that a brick smoker? I have no idea. I think this was meant to be a brick, like, outdoor kitchen kind of unit. But it has fallen into total disrepair. It's crazy. It's not something that it's really usable. It's now just a haven, I think, for black widows and shit. So, yeah, it's something that was built and never really hooked up. There's like a sink on it, but it's never been hooked up to the water. So yeah, now it's a fire pit. Yeah, if I started a fire in there, I might deal with the spiders, but I don't want to do it. I just want to leave it be. Like, I'm renting this place. I ain't buying it. So whatever that is over there is whoever owns this problem.
Probably not the code, if I had to guess.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that needs to be a code or not. Probably, because it's a fucking permanent structure. I don't even know how that works. Gasoline cleanses all, yeah. No,
That doesn't deal with the under the sink issue.
yeah, that's true. You can't use a flamethrower indoors. No, I'll tell you this. There are only 2 animals that I will outright kill if I find them in my house. Well, 3. Cockroaches. I have no love for a roach. I won't escort a roach off the property. Black widows and brown recluse spiders. All 3 of these animals get the boot if they're in my house. If I've got a mouse in the house, I'm going to try and trap the mouse humanely. I literally had a rat at the fucking tinderbox where me and Scotty and TJ and all of our significant others lived together. We had a rat, and I grabbed that fucking rat in a blanket with my bare hands. And I took it outside and I threw it as far as I could over the fence rather than hurt the rat. I had it there. I could have just snapped its neck. No. It's not one of the 3 animals that get the death penalty for going in there. Any other type of spider I find in there, like, I'll be honest with you. If I see a little wolf spider or, you know, just like a little fucking predatory spider setting up in the corner of one of my rooms, I might even just let him do his business in there. It's good to have a spider. For me, like, having a spider in the house is good luck. You know, they're out there getting, like, any flying shit that might come in. Ants, I mean, of course, ants. I put ants in the cockroach category, really, when it comes to, like, invading the house and shit. I don't escort the ants off the property either.
Creepy crawlies.
Like any other type of spider, like sometimes a spider will come up out of the drain or something and find its way to the house. And you know that it doesn't want to be in the house, actually. And so I'll get it, you know.
Oh yeah, Marshall, fleas.
Parasites.
I guarantee we have a raccoon or a possum somewhere.
For sure. We got a fox. Or at least a family of foxes, possibly, for sure. All you got to do with a mouse is grab it in a big towel. And, of course, give it a big smooch on the head before you throw it out, yeah. What about when the spider lays eggs and then there's 100 little guys walking around on your bedroom wall? Well, then you have what's called an infestation. So that's different. Yeah, I put all these parasitic bugs in a whole different category. Yeah, those are, you don't fuck around with no bed bugs.
Mosquitoes.
Or mosquitoes.
Cricket will eat a skeeter.
Yeah, like the occasional skeeter that finds its way into a house that Cricket lives in is a fucking doomed ass beast. Because at some point during the day, Cricket gonna find it.
They're sky raisins.
Yep. And he's gonna kill it.
Yeah, Foxes look like cats almost from a distance.
Yeah, they do. Dem do. Get yourself a huntsman spider.
Go get your ball.
No. I once threw a rattlesnake into one of my beehives. That was a gnarly death for the snake. Jesus. Fluffy butt.
Thank you.
I wish I was a lizard eating bugs all day. Yeah, dude. Me too. That'd be sweet. What about a wild SpaghettiO? All you can do is throw some SpaghettiOs and then go in your house.
My dad has the best snake story.
Yeah.
His aunt paid him for every snake he killed. So he'd take the same snake over and over again and knock it out and bring it to her all knocked out. And release it and then knock it out again.
Dude, that poor snake. That's pretty intrepid, though.
Live.
Yeah. It got to live. It just had to be knocked out all the time. That's pretty funny. If you ever cut your hair, can I make mittens out of it? No. That's creepy. That's one level, one half a level below like making a hair doll out of it in terms of creepiness. Ever seen Blue Collar? No. No.
Nothing to be made out of hair.
No.
Nothing.
Can't have my hair at all. The mittens are for the hair doll. Oh, God.
We gotta figure out what to do with them Paul plushies. We gotta get out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those Paul plushies have got to hit the market, dude. People need to be able to snuggle me from afar. They needs to cuddle me. If you ever do cut your hair, you can donate it. I could. I probably won't.
Yeah, it's gonna end up with some fucking wig and some beauty shop for $200.
Nope. I'd hella buy Paul, TJ, and Scotty plushies. Cool. Well, maybe someday that will be a possibility. Cringe and creepy. Cringe, cringe. Everything that I experience is cringe. We could always make voodoo dolls with all the DFF hair and make a religion out of it. Well, I've heard enough. I'm done. Goodbye.